Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're watching us from. It's Pastor Nirant here, back again. We're doing this marathon messages all the way till I cross the beautiful landmark of 40 years. I'm grateful to God for the opportunity to be able to come to you live to do various programs. And we have one of the most powerful doctors in the house.
That's it. That's a setup.
We have one of the most powerful doctors in the house to come and just share a little bit of his wealth of knowledge. But before I first of all introduce him, please do me a favor, go and hit that share button and let's get people on the platform. We have a good one today. Becoming a person of value. Becoming a person of value. It's not just enough for you to celebrate your birthday or celebrate how many years you've been on earth. We need to become valuable. We need to become a blessing to our world, to our generation. And that's the reason why we're alive in this time. I've always said there's a reason why we were not born 100 years ago or 200 years ago. The reason why is because we were not needed 200 years ago. We were not needed 100 years ago. So therefore, the reason why you and I are alive today is because we are needed in this generation. So it's just, how can we become valuable? How can we become a blessing? Well, I'm sure if you look my partner today, he's a very familiar face, especially on the social media, even though he has been quiet for a while. But he's he's a very familiar face. All you have to do is type in his name, and you'll see how much messages he has done with our mentor, Dr. Sunday Adelaja. I'd like to welcome Dr. Anu Ojo to the platform. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you so very much, my dear Pastor Nero. Well, it's definitely a pleasure to be with you on this platform, and I'm saying hello to everyone who is joining us from all over the world. Pastor Nero was saying great. Maybe I don't know that. I was trying to search around, like, is there any other person in this place that I'm not aware of? Because but yeah, but my name is Anu Ojo, and I'm just privileged to be here, and I'm grateful to be here basically and to share a little of what I've learned.
Okay. So before we get in, we want to try to get to know you a little bit. How is Ukraine? How's life been? With the pandemic and everything. Yeah, how's things now?
Well, right now, because I'm currently resident in Kiev, Ukraine, and Kiev is the capital of Ukraine. We are especially here in Kiev, we are having I don't know if it's the third wave right now, because I think we've had like second wave and third wave. So, but currently, actually, we're having a lockdown in Kiev. But the lockdown now isn't as the previous one of last year, where things were quite difficult. Right now, there's a lockdown which includes the subway system not working, the buses just limited, buses are working, public spaces are also closed up, theaters and all of that. So with the COVID cases, based on the report, it's been increasing lately. Like, I think yesterday we had over 1,500 new cases in Kiev. Yeah. So, but the interesting thing is, it's like life is back to normal. Like, you go to town, I mean, people are still wearing their masks and doing all of that, but what can we do?
Yeah. it's
we try to be safe. We try to take all the precautions that we can, and we trust God
yeah,
that He helps us through it all. So that's how it is right now. Okay.
yeah. Wow. I mean, it's like that everywhere. It's just good to get a different look of how. I mean, it's the same thing here, but things are opening up. People are getting tired of this whole. They're getting tired of this whole social distancing, and they really want to return back
Yeah.
to their
True.
lives. And so, but in all things, what we have to just give thanks. And but I equally believe that this period is a time for like a global reset. I really feel like it's a time for all of us to reset and recalibrate, and maybe get to a place where we understand what life truly entails.
That's
Um,
right.
yeah. So I think that that's basically that's how the church should view this season as a whole. What do you think?
That's right. I mean, I agree because what I've come to discover about life is that when things are going as we expect and where things are going, smoothly, uh, we we kind of get so used to everything that we fail to realize that there's some things that are actually going, the wrong direction.
Hmm.
It's just it's just like I'll give an example of uh, someone who is driving, right? And he's trying to, let's say, he's trying to go from point A to point B. Now, if the road that he is driving through keeps leading him to just the direction that he expects, and any deviation, if he turns left or he turns right, he gets to his final destination, then you could just take any route. But guess what? If there is a route that is meant to take that will take you from point A to point B,
Mhm.
and he decides to take another route,
Mm.
what would happen at the end of the day is that it's going to get to probably a dead end.
Mm.
And when it gets to a dead end, then it's like,
I should
this is
have.
not where I'm going to.
Yeah.
I need to make a detour, or I need to turn back or something. So I said all of that to say that when I look at this pandemic, it gives, it created an opportunity for us to like pause and, like you rightly said, to reevaluate a lot of things.
Hmm.
It gave us time to reevaluate our priorities. It gave us time to reevaluate our lives because it was, I mean, everybody's life was on standstill. You couldn't go to
Nowhere.
work, you couldn't do anything. So it was almost like now you are by yourself.
Mm.
Now you need to answer some questions
Yes.
because if you thought that everything was going on okay,
Mm.
and all of a sudden something just happened, and it's like everything you had been living for was to just literally stripped off you, your job. Even people who were football fans, they couldn't go to, even till now, you couldn't go to the stadiums. People that where drivers couldn't drive their buses. I
Mm.
mean, just everything was
Everything. Yeah.
halted. So it brings you back to a place where you have to sit down and ask yourself some real pertinent questions about, okay, how have I been living for the past few years? Have I really been making the best use of my life? you know, and what do I need to change? And some people had to reassess and reevaluate, their families and the state of their family, because some people, they never had the opportunity to actually sit down for
Mm.
24 hours with their
Family.
wives or their husbands or with their children,
Yeah.
you know. And then this whole COVID lockdown, it subjected families to be together,
Mm.
to really sit down and reassess, their family relationship. Are we actually a family?
Mm.
Do we get to really spend time and to,
Yeah.
communicate? Do I even really know you? And a lot of things, of course, this doesn't eliminate the fact that the lockdown also brought its own cons,
Yes.
where people people were really depressed, and some people had to, resort to drugs and a lot of harmful vices. And that also reveals a lot. So it
Yeah.
meant that they couldn't be by themselves and be productive.
Mm.
So either ways, I mean, the whole lockdown and the COVID-19 and its effects, and it just gives us an opportunity to just be calm, to reevaluate, to sit down, and to really ask ourselves some questions about, our existence.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I fully agree with you, and it kind of brings home everything that DSC has been saying for the past 3 years for me. Because
Yeah,
just like you said, I got to spend time with family. I got to spend time with my wife, my daughter, and it was like, wow, we're always so. You get up in the morning, you take your child to the
so
daycare,
busy.
you take her to the
Yeah,
daycare, and then but I actually got time to train her, be around with her, be around with my wife, and it opened my eyes to the way life should be, in a sense where you are not running after money. Like, you are able to now sit back, um, plan, strategize, and then it opened my eyes also to, like, this is how I want my life to be. I don't want to be always having to run. I don't want to always
yeah,
have to run after money like that. I mean, this is. It was like even though it was not it was not our normal, but it became like this should be our norm. This should be the way we live our lives. That we're not pursuing after money. That we're just busy fulfilling our purpose, busy raising up our children, busy spending time with my wife, and I think that's what it did for me in a nutshell. So
beautiful.
yeah,
Beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And the truth about it is that everything is against it. You see, the truth
Mm,
about it is that
mm,
you see what you're experiencing and what you want,
yeah,
everything is against it. The whole
mm,
system is against it.
yeah.
Why?
Wow.
Because
Mm,
the world system is designed in such a way that they want you to be a slave of money and
mm,
a slave of Uncle Sam and
yes.
a slave of every other thing, but
Mm,
the most important things.
yes.
So it becomes very difficult for you to really build your life in such a way that you can, as much as you can, be in control.
Mm,
Because every other thing and every other person wants to be in control of your life.
mm,
Every other person, every other thing wants to control your life. And by controlling your life, people might be thinking, what do you mean by they want to control my life? I'm in charge of my life. Nobody controls my life. I do what I want to do. are you, are you, can you beat your chest and tell me you're in control?
mm,
No.
yeah.
They control the time you wake up.
Yeah.
The world system controls the time you have to wake up. They control the time that you have to spend with your family. They
Mm,
control the time that you have to sleep. They control the time that you have to eat. They
mm,
control. So it's a battle of control.
yes.
Now you should not be. Maybe I don't want to say you are unlucky, but somehow you now fall into the hands of other people who are trying to control your time.
Mhm.
Apart from the Uncle Sam system where you have to go work, then you basically don't have any time because maybe they're trying to control your time in church too, so you have to go to church
Yeah.
or trying to do some other religious activities, and many other things that are trying to also take your time. So I think one of the, if I understand you well, one of the most beautiful things that happened to you was that you sort of gained control, some sort of control,
Yes.
where you didn't have to you didn't have to just follow what another person has already set for you that you have to do this.
Yeah.
So you could determine, okay, I want to wake up at this time. I want to go on a walk with my wife at this time. I want to do this at this time, and to have that control
Yeah.
to really live the life that you really want to live. So it's not a walk in the park. It's a fight.
It is.
It's a fight, and it's a worthy fight. It's a
Yeah.
good fight. It's a
Yeah.
good fight.
Awesome. So now let's get into our topic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So becoming a person of value. So when I sent you this topic, what came in your mind?
That is. Becoming a person of value is a sentence that basically describes my life. My life for at least the past 4 years, more intentionally. So the past 3 to 4 years of my life just basically describes what that statement means, how becoming a person of value. So I just said, because this is me.
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
I've been a
That's
person
good.
of value.
Okay,
Yes.
so let's get into it. Becoming a person of value.
Uh, where do I start? I don't know. So I don't know. This is going to be like a conversation, right? Not
Yeah,
like
it's a
a teaching.
conversation. Yeah.
Okay.
It's up to you how you want to go. You want conversation? You want
I want to
topic? It's
go.
up
All
to
right,
you.
no problem. I'll flow,
Yeah.
and then if at any point you maybe have a question or you want to stop me,
Yeah.
please feel free to
Okay.
stop and say, okay, let's maybe deliberate more on this that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So becoming a person of value is an interesting subject,
Yeah.
and it raises two questions, especially if we are talking about becoming a person of value. So the question is becoming a person of value linked towards who I am as an individual or what I have? We must, I want to start on this premise because we must be able to distinguish these two questions: who I am and what I have. So it's a question of, on one hand, a question of essence, and on the other hand, a question of possession. So becoming a person of value is my focus or my perspective to becoming a person of value targeted towards acquiring things that would make me valuable. Meaning, I want to have value, or I want to be and form within myself certain qualities that would make me valuable. Meaning, I might not necessarily have anything materialistic, but if I show up, a valuable person has shown up. It's very important that we understand these two directions. Why? Because it becomes what motivates you and what helps you set a goal. I think it's a self-evident and a known fact that we live in a very materialistic world, and understandably so, because everything around us is material, is materialistic. We're not living in a spiritual world where everything is spiritual. We live in a world that is tangible, and the way we on this planet, the way we measure things is by what we can see, what we can touch, So if I ask you and I say, okay, who is a person of value? How do you know someone is valuable? How do you know this person is of worth, has some worth? Because value also denotes worth, something that has, some worth, some essence to it. One person might say, oh, this person is a person of value because he has valuable things. Another person can say, oh, this person is a person of value because he has certain characters that make me feel that he has some worth. Now, I said all of this to say both of them are not necessarily wrong. Being a person of value includes both. Being a person of value means that you are a person of essence, meaning you are valuable, meaning you as an individual, you have worked on yourself and you have developed within yourself qualities that makes you useful and that increases your worth as an individual. And that means you're a person of value.
Yes.
And also, we can measure you as a person of value as someone who possesses things that we regard as value. But the difference comes in what is more superior to the other, and which is the one that should be your primary focus and which should be a secondary one. Now, you see, I would go beyond and say, in becoming a person of value, there are three directions that you can take. There are three directions you can take, and I'll just say it now, and then maybe I can develop it as we continue our conversation. To become a person of value, number one is that you must realize that you must add value to yourself as an individual. So you as a person, you must add value to yourself. And of course, that entails a whole lot of things. But that's the first thing. The very first receiver or recipient of that value that you're trying to become is yourself. You must add that value. To become a person of value, you must invest in yourself. You must add value to yourself. Number one. Number two, for you to become a person of value, it's not enough for you to add value to yourself. You must also, as much as you can, be committed to adding value to others. So it doesn't just stop at, oh, I'm adding value to myself and that's me, all of that. No, you must go a step further by taking the value that you've added to yourself and replicating it in the lives of other people by adding value to them. So that's the second way that you can become a person of value, by adding value to other people. And the third way that anyone can become a person of value is by creating value in form of what we refer to as goods and services, products. So anybody who is aggressively producing goods, services, that person will be valuable. So those are the three directions. So you are either adding value to yourself as an individual, but it doesn't stop there, but you're adding value to other people. That's another way through which you can become a person of value yourself. And You can also become a person of value by creating value in the form of good service, products, anything that. And if you listen to what I'm saying, you'll be able to realize that the very precursor of even the second and the third is in the value that you had to yourself. Because the value that you had to yourself is the value that you'll be able to convert in adding to other people. And without having value in yourself and adding value to yourself, you won't be able to convert anything into a product or a service. And that's the reason why I started by saying that you are the very first land that you must till. You are the very first land that you must cultivate. You are the very first project that you must, work on. The biggest investment that you can make is not in stocks, is not in bonds, is not in real estate investment. All of those are amazing investments. But the most important investment that you can make is the
Yes.
investment that you make in yourself. Because the returns of that investment, you know, you cannot measure it. And you are the one in control of that.
Yes.
With the stocks and with the bonds and with real estate, anything can happen, But when it comes to the investment that you have in yourself, you are a carrier of it. Anywhere you show up, you have it. It cannot be stripped off you. If they throw you into a desert, you'll be able to convert and make things happen in that desert because you carry it. It cannot be taken from you because it's in you.
Yes.
No one can steal it. No one can take it. They can steal your products. They can steal your services. They can, even the people that you invest in and add value to, can tomorrow deny you and can leave you alone and say, we don't care about you. But guess what? You remain intact. You remain intact. Why? Because that value that you have developed is in you.
Yes.
And you can, at any point in time, start again. I think I would take a pause there and know what you have to say about that, or if you get what I'm talking about.
Yes, I get what you're saying. It's very important for you. I like how you broke it down to three stages. The first begins with you adding value. First of all, I believe also you need to know that you are valuable. You need everyone has a measure of self worth. You need to know that. You need to know that you have something to offer
Yeah,
as a human being. Everyone has something to offer, but for you to become valuable, like we're talking about, you must first of all add value to yourself. Now, don't just add value to yourself and then don't think about the world around you. And that's the second stage where you now begin to add value to others.
yeah,
So that basically that we need to understand the point of adding value to ourselves. Adding value to yourself, just you being adding to yourself. And I like how you said the importance. The greatest investment is not in stocks, bonds, not in cryptocurrency. The greatest investment you can make is in you.
that's right.
So I believe the question that everyone must ask themselves is: Am I investing in myself? Am I am I
That's right.
am I using the currency of time, and am I using that time to invest in me, so that I can have value, so I can give value to other people? And I think that if
Yeah,
if everyone can cultivate the habit of learning that it's important, that this is the part where it boils down to you. It boils down to
yeah,
you understanding that first of all, you know that you're valuable. You know that everyone has value, and then you understand that I must add value to myself. That is my responsibility. That the fact that God has given me life, the fact that God has allowed me to live a certain amount of years, I must use those years to become so valued, to be a blessing wherever I go, wherever even if God decides to send me to Afghanistan, or God decides to send me to um anywhere in Europe, I am a blessing there, because all those years I've been adding value to myself. And now it doesn't matter where I go, it doesn't matter where I am. I'm just I'm a person of value. I'm just valuable. I'm indispensable. And I think that we need to cultivate that habit in our lives.
100%, 100%. What makes something valuable? What makes you valuable? That's the question. Yeah. So we've talked about the I wouldn't say it's theoretical, but just the overview of becoming a person of value. But
Yes.
let's become practical. Let's get to the practical point of it. What makes something valuable? Take for example, I have this thing with me here. I don't know if it's seen. Yeah, but this is a lip balm,
Mm-hmm.
basically. Now, of all things in the world, why would I have a lip balm by my side? Guess what? Because it's of value. Why don't I have it just in the dustbin right now? Guess what? Because in this very little thing is something that meets a need that I have.
Yes.
And the need that I have is that I don't want my lips to be looking haggard, on the screen. I want to look it to be good. So I have to apply it so that my lips looks good because I have a need. So I said all of that to say that what makes a thing valuable is because it is meeting a need.
Need. Yes.
The moment trust me, the moment this thing finishes, the content finishes, I won't be keeping this thing again. No. I throw it away.
Yeah.
And the reason why I throw it away is not because I have any, you know, uh, problem with it or it got me annoyed. It's just because it's not meeting my need anymore. So in other words, it is useless. So becoming a person of value means you are living your life constantly thinking of what need
Can I
am
meet?
I meeting? What solution am I providing? What problem am I solving? How am I an answer to a question? Anybody who would be an answer to any question or be a solution to any problem, you don't have to fight to be perceived as a valuable person. You don't have to even pray. You don't have to even beg for it. Hey, meet a problem, solve a problem, become an answer. You automatically become a person of value. I mean, let's take many examples that we have today. Just any example that we see. We're talking right now on Facebook. Why is Mark Zuckerberg a person of value? Simple. It's not because he's a billionaire. A billionaire or being a billionaire was an after effect. It was as a result of him being a person of value by creating a product that is meeting a need. So guess what? He added value to himself, gained the necessary skills, knowledge, know-how, and created a product. And remember, we already talked about it earlier. One way that you can become a person of value is by what? Adding value to yourself, adding value to others, and also creating a
Creating a
product.
product.
So guess what? Mark Zuckerberg added value to himself and he created a product that we know today as Facebook.
Mhm.
And he is undoubtedly a person of value.
Mm.
But guess what? You don't have to be Mark Zuckerberg to be a person of value. And that's one myth I want to break today. Because guess what? Not so many people will be like Mark Zuckerberg. As a matter of fact, maybe only less than 3% of people will be like the Zuckerbergs of this world. And no matter how hard you try, you
Yes.
might not get there. But guess what? I want to tell you something that that person who is in your house that might not be as smart as Mark Zuckerberg or as wealthy as Mark Zuckerberg, but that person is probably the one mowing on your lawn.
Mm.
That person is a person of value because the person is meeting a need.
Yeah.
The person who is helping you fix, either it's your floor or fix your lights or fix, I want to, as much as possible, try to inspire people to do great things, but to also be great in doing little things.
Mm.
I feel a lot of people have been disillusioned in life because the picture of greatness has been so limited to becoming the Zuckerbergs of this world and being the Warren Buffetts and all of that. But guess what? He is Mark Zuckerberg. That's why he achieved that kind of result.
Mhm.
And maybe that's what is destined and that's what is called to be. And you might not be called to be that. Your, your own journey in life and your own purpose might not necessarily be great in terms of that. And your value as a person doesn't need to be determined or calculated by how much you have in your bank account. Because guess what? The Mother Teresa's of this world were not billionaires and millionaires. But what made Mother Teresa a person of value was simple. She was going to take care of those people on the streets. She did it so well that she gained international relevance. But guess what? There are some people who are doing the very same thing, but they don't have any, attention as Mother Teresa got.
Yeah.
So would you tell me that those people are not people of value? Or are they not people who, have added value to themselves and are adding value to the lives of people? Definitely not. So what I'm trying to actually break is the stereotype or the stereotypical understanding of becoming a person of value, which most people will think to be a person of value means you have to dress well, look good. Am I against you looking good? Of course, look good if you can. But if you're not able to wear a Versace or you're not able to wear a Louis Vuitton, doesn't mean that you're not a person of value. Some people might think becoming a person of value means you're having 1,000 or 100,000, followership. But guess what? You don't have to because Jesus proved it. Jesus did not have 1,000 or 100,000 followership. You only had 12 people you worked with.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, his church, if he had a church, he only had 12 members in his church. And as a matter of fact, even the 12 reduced to 11 at some point.
Mhm.
So if I wanted to measure his value by how many people, he had as his disciples or as his followers, I mean, I wouldn't rate him as one because he only had 12. But guess what? People now think until I have like 1,000 capacity. Now it's okay to strive for that and to aim high.
Yeah.
But don't get disillusioned because the picture of greatness that had been sold to you or that you bought
Yes.
doesn't match your reality and you feel you're coming short. No,
Yes.
you don't have to
Yes.
make that your reality. You don't have to. The most important thing is that you see, I have a younger brother who is in high school, and how Nigerian parents are. When they are really on your head, you must be the first in your class. The person that who is first, does he have two heads? I mean, why can't you be the first in your class?
Yeah.
Because I went through that also, myself, and I understand where they're coming from because they want you to be the first because being the first means you are the best. But what do I tell my brother? And it's like an agreement that I have with him. I tell him, boy, straight on, you don't have to be the first in your class. You don't have to.
Yeah.
And you not being the first in your class doesn't mean you are less of a person. You don't have to be the first in your class. Don't let that be your goal. Because what happens is that you might never hit it.
Yeah.
And you think you're a failure because you're not the first. And that's not the truth.
Yes.
And you might think, okay, I'm not valuable because I didn't get to be the first in my class. No. So what do I tell him? Hey boy, you don't have to be the first. But between you and your conscience,
Yeah.
make sure that everything that you do in your schoolwork, you give it your 100.
That's it.
You give it your best. Make sure you give your best in everything you do. Let your goal be to outdo yourself. If you have to study for any paper or any subject, let not your goal be to I want to beat this person. I want to be the first and beat this my guy. No, 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 no. Make sure that within yourself you know that I did all I could. If I needed to spend an extra 1 hour to study, I did it. I gave my best. If that becomes your genuine perspective and approach to life, there's no way you will not stand out. It's impossible. Because most people in life, they don't give their best. What I said now might sound so simple to a lot of people that, well, I mean, what kind of advice is that? Why don't you allow him to want to be the first? I mean, what does it mean to be your best? But trust me, with the little amount of years I've lived, I've seen that very few amount of people are consciously and intentionally doing all that they can to give their best in everything that they do. Most people just give minimum. Most people, see, question yourself. In the things that you do, most people just do the barest minimum, or they just do just okay. It was when I was working with Dr. Sunday, I began to realize this. Dr. Sunday, one of the principles he teaches us is that, boy, listen, he gives us, the thing about Dr. Sunday is that he can give you a simple task to do. Of course, being with him, you can have a simple task and you can have a major, big task. Take, for example, if Dr. Sunday wants me to have a conference call with some people, maybe some international figures. So I'm like, wow, I'm going to represent Dr. Sunday in this meeting. So this is a big task. So I go, I prepare, I work hard, I do all my study because I perceive this to be a big task. Or then maybe Dr. Sunday gives me another task and he says, I know, I want you to maybe write write me an article, or prepare something, prepare a document for me. Let's say a document. So he gives me the document to prepare, and so that time before I learned, I just feel like, oh, this is a trivial task now. I mean, it's document. So I go on my laptop and I do the document in 2 3 minutes. I finish it, I send it to him. And then he received the document and he sent it back to me and says, Anu, what did you just do? Go and read this document that you sent to me. So I go back and I read the document and I realize I made numerous grammatical blunders. And what it tells us is, see, it is with the same attitude that you treat what you think is a simple task. It is with the same attitude you're going to deal with a big task. Don't deceive yourself. If you don't practice being your best at the even minutest detail or the minutest task, and you think when you have a big task, you'll be able to handle it, you're deceiving yourself. So I said that to say that when I tell my brother to be the best, I know I'm telling him something that only a very little fraction of people in this world are consciously doing. And there's no way that if that becomes your modus operandi, and that becomes the way you think, the way you live, the way you function, there's no way you wouldn't stand out in what you're doing. Because everything you do, you try your best to do it at the best possible ability of yours. And there's no way that if you do things in that manner, that you won't stand shoulders, heads high in anything that you do. So we have to, question what we define or what we see as a person of value. You don't have to become a millionaire. It's great if you're a millionaire, if you're a billionaire. But even if you are able to, if you're able to do the smallest thing, you're adding value. I want to give two stories, and then I'll give it to you. Just two simple stories from the Bible. You know how the story of the rich man who had done so much labor. When I read that story, I used to be amazed, and it used to make me really question God at some point. That which kind of God is this person? I mean, this guy worked hard. Yeah, this guy worked hard to amass a lot of things for himself. But guess what? After he did all that he needed to do for himself, and he said, okay, I've done all this, my work and everything, now let my soul rest. Then God says, today, thou fool, your soul, what did he do? I mean, it's not enough for a man to chop after he has worked and he has labored. I mean, let him rest. Right? That's what I thought. That, I mean, if he had labored and he said, now, my soul, look at all you have done. Now sit down and chill and, rest. That would have been, I mean, what is wrong? What is wrong with that? But why would the Bible, when you say, I mean, God was like, you fool, your soul will be taken up from you. There's a lesson there. And the lesson is, becoming a person of value isn't something that you say you achieve and you're done. It's, you never get to the point where you say, I've arrived. That's one lesson there. You see, listen to great people speak. Listen to how they talk and how they reason. When you are thinking that, Baba, you have hammered, But I mean, you are made. Those guys don't sleep.
Hmm.
No, do your research and study how the people who you believe are great today and look at how they live. They never get to that point where they feel like, I'm done.
Hmm.
I don't want to do anything again. Let me just lie down and sleep, because they know that the moment they feel they get to that position where they feel like, now let my this thing, that they begin to deteriorate.
Hmm.
So what happens? They keep setting goals that are beyond themselves. So the rich man, his goal was himself, for him to be satisfied and for him to say, I'm done now, let my soul be
Hmm.
refreshed. So he was literally doing everything and he made himself the end. But that is an error.
Yes.
Life should not be for yourself. You can't be the end.
Yes.
You know, it's amazing that you're able to amass all of those things. But when you make your whole life surrounded or to revolve around just you, that you begin to die. You begin to lose out on all of those things. And that's the reason why when you see people who are great today, the moment they achieve a certain goal, they set another goal. It's not about them. It's about, like I said earlier, it's about the problems that they are trying to solve. With the rich man, which the Bible referred to as a fool, it was his goal. That's an error. You have to live for something that is beyond yourself, because that is the true representation of value. And that is what really reveals your growth as an individual, that you are living and you are chasing after something that is beyond you, beyond yourself. All right. So that's exactly what we see. Now, imagine the rich man said, okay, now I've gotten all these things I have. Now I want to try to see how I can be of help to other people around me. And that's something you'll notice about the people who are wealthy today. Many of them, one of the things they do, they get into philanthropy,
Hmm.
right? They
Yeah.
get into things that would help them to be a blessing to their world, because they understand. You know, I was reading the news recently, I think it was about Chan. And Jackie Chan was saying that all of his wealth and everything that he has, he's not planning to give it to his son, you know, or he's not planning to take it for himself. He wants to give it out, you know, to charity, to be a blessing to people, because that's the true essence of life,
Yes.
you know, and that is really what makes you valuable.
Yes.
So the story of the rich man, you know, reveals to us that becoming a person of value shouldn't be something that you say, okay, now I have become. It is becoming, you know, and it is for every level of success that you attain, every level of, you know, progress that you make, it's not like you're not satisfied. That's not the goal. The point is not about you being satisfied or not. The goal is that you are constantly in that process, you know, you are constantly in that journey of adding value to yourself so that you can become valuable to
Okay.
other people,
Yes.
so that you can be a blessing. You are blessed to be a blessing,
Person,
you
yes.
know, and that's very, very important. So I think I'll just stop with that one story and allow you to share what you have to say.
Yeah. You're throwing many bullets today, and I like the part that you talked about being being the best that you can be, putting your best, doing your best in
Yeah,
anything you do. And I like the analogy how you gave about DSA giving you opportunity to speak to those that you call great men, and you're like so, and then all of a sudden now you ask you to write just an article, and you just took 5 minutes, which all of us have the tendency of doing. That whenever something seems big in our eyes, we put all our efforts to do that which seems big. But then when something seems just small or minute, we put our little focus, our little our little put little energy into it.
Yeah.
And in my study of great men, they do they do their best, not just on big things, but on little things.
That's
Any
right.
little thing that they have to do, they don't just do it casually. And not only also that, they demand that, okay, if I give you something little, I want you to do your best with it. And I think that that is a habit that we all need to cultivate in our lives. That we don't just take small things as lightly. We live a life of standard where we put our best in every single thing we do. So we just simply need to have the same attitude that we have with small things, or with big things. We have to have that same attitude. Also, there's another thing that
Yeah.
you talked about, which is I believe that everyone needs to understand that greatness. When people talk about great men, and I like the analogy of Mike Zuckerberg. So they strive to be like Mike Zuckerberg. I think that um, being great in life is not a measure of your finances. It's not a measure of how well known you are. That we should simply just strive to be the best that we can be. Be the best.
Yeah.
You're a doctor. Be the best doctor. Don't compete. And that's another thing. We're always trying to compete with other people. Just be the best that
Yeah.
you can be. I think the other day, so I think yeah, Dr. Connor said the other day. He said that run. He said run in your own lane. This is so if you have a lane that you're supposed to run in your own lane and put your best into the lane that you're running, not focusing on who's beside you. Remember those days, yes, when I used to run track, the track coach will tell you, run. Don't look on who's beside you, or how fast is running, or how slow is running. You just run with the finish line in mind, looking at the finish line and putting your
Yeah.
best and
Yeah.
sprinting to getting there as fast as possible. And I believe that's how we should live our lives. Be the best that you can be.
100%.
Strive
100%.
to do to put knowing that when you have done, like I love watching sports. And one thing about these sports guys, they always say after they play, their goal is they just leave everything out on the floor.
Yeah.
They do all they can do, so that when they walk away, they know that, you know what, I did everything that I was supposed to do. I think if we do that, we will do well.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm going to this is one of my favorite quotes, and it's by the inspirational Martin Luther King Jr. And this quote just describes what it means to become a person of value.
Mm.
And what did Martin Luther King Jr. say? He said, if a man is called to be a street sweeper, you see, street sweeper. I mean, you know how we walk past street sweepers and we feel like, who are they? But no, he says, if a man is called to be a street sweeper,
Super.
he should sweep the streets,
Mm.
even as Michelangelo painted. I'm sure we all know or at
Yeah.
least we know who Michelangelo is.
Yes.
So he says, if you are called to be a street sweeper, sweep as Michelangelo painted, or sweep as Beethoven composed music,
Mm.
or sweep as William Shakespeare wrote poetry.
Mm.
Now, see, notice that he did not say be Michelangelo, and that's the fallacy that we get in our world today.
Yes.
Everybody's trying to be like this person, be like this person. Or I want to be like this guy. You can never be like them. The best that you will be is that you'll be a best copy. That's it.
Mm.
But what was Martin Luther saying? He says, if you're calling, so the first thing that you must know what you are called to do. To become a person of value, you must know what you're called to do. You must know it. So if you're called to be a street sweeper, now your focus should be that I want to sweep so well and sweep so good as Michelangelo, who his own calling was to be a painter, but he did his best with painting.
Yes.
Ludwig van Beethoven, he was not called to be a painter, but he was called to compose music. But guess what? He composed music so well that years after his departure, we are still listening to his music and to his symphony.
Mm.
Do we want to talk about William Shakespeare? Shakespeare did not sing. Shakespeare did not write.
No.
But he was called to be a poet. And he did it so well. So Martin Luther was saying, if your calling is to be a street sweeper, don't say, oh God, why me? When there are people who are painting, when there are people who are doing great things, people who are changing nations, people are who are building 100,000 capacity of buildings, people who are creating Facebook widely. No, that shouldn't be your concern. Are you called to be a street sweeper? Come on, do your best. He continues by saying, he should sweep the streets so well that all the host of heavens and on earth will pause to say,
Wow.
here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. Here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. So your concern should not be to be like this person, to be like person. That is a journey of frustration. That is a journey of of just you putting unnecessary pressure on yourself and trying to just know your, just like you rightly said, know what you're called to do. Why am I here? What is my own? Okay, if mine is just to be a street sweeper, then let me sweep this street so well. Oh my God, I will sweep this street so well that I might not be on the newspaper. They might not know me in any area of the world, but I know first that with this thing I'm doing, I did my best and I added as much value as I can. I know my conscience knows, God knows. That settles it. So if the people around me will recognize it, good for them. If they don't, good for them.
Yes.
It's between me
And God.
and God. That's it.
Wow.
I rest my case.
Yes. Don't try to be like somebody else. Be you.
Yeah.
Anytime you look at people, and I always do that, you just see that everyone is so different. Different makeup, nobody's the same. And I think that on its own is a message that you are unique. And you need to see yourself as, I'm a unique person. I have a unique personality. I have my ways. And sadly today, what we have is many people are just trying to copy each other, trying to be do what is relevant. And I think that if we can just live our life in such a way that I'm not trying to be like you, but I can learn from you. Like, for instance, now I can learn from Dr. Anu. I can learn from certain things that he does that will make me better, but I can't be like him. And I think that needs that it is just your uniqueness. You're unique. You're unique. You're a unique personality, and let's stop striving to be like somebody else. We can learn from each other, but be the best that you can be. Be the best version of yourself.
Version.
Best version of yourself.
Yeah.
The best of you that you will look back at your life and say, "Wow, I lived well. I ran in my own lane. I
Yeah.
didn't try to mimic anybody. I learned from that pastor. I learned from that brother. I learned from that sister, and that only just helped me to be the best version of me." And I believe that once you're the best
Yeah.
version of you, whatever what people will say about you, you are leaving it to them. But you are living your life in such a way. You're not living your life just to be great. You're not living your life just to succeed. You're not living your life just to have money. You're just doing the best version of you. And the other one day I was listening to TD Jakes a couple days ago actually, and he said that he wasn't trying to be successful. Like his goal was not I want to succeed. His goal was just to do things well. That was his goal, to be the best that he can be. And I think that a lot of times we always have success as the goal. Of course, everyone wants to succeed, but I believe that if we can just
Oh, wow. I think we got the Pastor Nero out for some time. I hope he's able to join us back. Well, if you're watching us right now on Facebook, I'd like to encourage you to share before before Pastor Nero joins. So please kindly share this video while we expect Pastor Nero.
oh sorry,
All
sorry
right.
about that. I'm using my phone. My computer's also not working, so I have to use my phone. So now people are last time to call, so that's what happened. Knocked me off. So
All right.
I think that the goal just needs to be I need to be the best version of myself.
That's
I
right.
believe all the
And that's
success,
it.
what people will say, will fall into place.
Yeah. 100%. 100. And isn't that easy? Isn't that doable? Because I guess many people, when you see, I guess when people, I don't know what people were expecting. Yeah. In this the subject of becoming a person of value, maybe they were expecting 5 or 10 steps to becoming a person of value, but why why make it so difficult? Why make it so complex? It's simple. You want to become a person of value, be the best version of yourself.
Yes.
And of course that involves all of the things that we've talked about, all of the things talking about adding value to yourself, adding value to other people, creating products, it involves all of that. But guess what? If you go and meditate on the quote I read by Martin Luther King Jr., and you make that how you think, and you make that your philosophy of life, and you in everything that you do, you try to become the best by becoming your best or doing your best. There's no how you wouldn't be valuable. It's almost impossible. There's it's not just it's impossible for you not to become a person of value, and it's easy. Just become the best version of yourself. Do it very well. Do it very well. Do it excellently well. You know. Thank you so very much, Pastor Nero, for this opportunity.
No, thank you for taking time. I know you're a busy man, so and you're a man that values time. So thank you so much for taking
I
time
appreciate you.
to share this. We would like to have you back as much time as we're able to. But with all our
I'm at your
viewers,
service.
yes, to all our viewers, please, if you have not done it, hit the share button. My goal is to, such messages like this, we all wish we heard it in our teens, in our 20s. Sadly to say, some people would live majority of their life and never had such messages like this. And this message needs to go around. It's not one of your popular messages, but it's a message that If every one young person can just grab a hold of how to become valuable, can you imagine a teenager grabbing a hold of how to become valuable? I'm imagining my life when I was 16 or when I was 16 and all those years of going to church. Can you imagine if a teaching came across this way of how you can become valuable in life? Do you know what you're doing for that young person? You're setting him up to become everything that God has placed him on this earth to be. And that's the
That's right.
whole essence of these programs, is to reach the next generation so that messages like this I wouldn't have to wait till my mid 30s to hear for the first time. That messages like this can be heard by teenagers, that can be heard by those that are just about to go into college. I heard that those are just graduated from college, so that they can now begin to live their best life, not waiting to when they hit 40 to now enter into their purpose, not waiting to when they hit 50. You know, there are some people that are 60 years old and they don't even know if they fulfilled their purpose. They're just about to,
Yeah.
or they're just like, what are they going to do? But I believe that as long as there's life, there's still hope. So let's share this
Yeah, that's
message. Let's encourage the young ones so that they can live their best life now. And thank you all so much. Thank you, Dr. Anu. We appreciate you so much.
well,
Um,
guess what? I was going to say this at the beginning, but I think this is a perfect time for me
yeah,
to say it. Now I cannot help but notice the tears rolling down your eyes,
yeah,
and oh, I'm very grateful to God for your life. Many people don't know why you're doing this, but it's good that you talked about it, because
yeah.
you're about hitting your 40th birthday, and I mean, permit me to say happy birthday to you in advance. Yeah, happy birthday to you. That's just for people who don't know. Please mark your calendar. Tomorrow is the day, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
Yes, tomorrow.
it, it, tomorrow is the day. So
It's tomorrow.
please
Tomorrow is the big
send
day.
all. I mean, well, tomorrow is a big day. So we are telling you to please bombard him with all the love. But I want to just say this to you that I appreciate your heart. I appreciate your passion. I remember you coming to Ukraine some 3 4 years ago. And from the moment I saw you, and from the moment I heard you talk, I could see someone who is genuinely in search for truth, someone who is genuinely willing to be a carrier
Yeah.
of that truth. And that has really been what you've been doing, since I've known you. And even while you were speaking, I could see, that this is something that you have a very strong, desire and passion for, to equip, younger people with the knowledge of this truth, so that, they can gain territories, and they can, gain momentum while they're still young, and they don't have to wait till, to a later part of their lives. So I mean, it's my prayer, Pastor Nero, because let me just tell you, while I was, thinking about you, and having you in my heart, I just had, a feeling in my heart that, this 40th birthday, and I'm saying it to the whole world so they hear.
Yes.
All what you've been doing so far was basically God taking you through different phases and through different journeys.
Mhm.
So the first thing is that every journey, every path that you took was to lead you to where you are now.
Yeah.
And every journey that you went through was to equip you for what you are set to do from now.
Yes.
So this 40th birthday, this phase you're about to enter in, is the phase for implementation. for you to go all in to do what God has laid in your heart to do. He's prepared you so far to this point, and is that now is the time for you to get yourself, soaked and drenched in doing what you have. I know you know what God has called you to do. I know you know it, just as you know your name. And now is that time, as you're crossing this milestone. Now is the time for you to go fully, because God has equipped you. And the thing is that as you begin to do it, God would begin to, orchestrate things to work together towards the implementation of that thing that God has called you to do. So our prayers are with you. We're sending our love to you, to your beautiful wife. I mean, I was thinking I was going to see her face today, so that at least
No.
I'll be happier. But it's all
Don't
right. I
worry,
can see
next
her face.
time, next time.
It's all
Next
right.
time.
It's all right. Your face also. You're good looking, so you're good looking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and to your beautiful daughters, please
Yes,
send them my love, and to your mom, to your
I
dad.
will. I will.
I mean, we can't wait to have you in Ukraine. We can't wait for you to come back to Ukraine, and let's have a good
Once
time.
it opens up, no problem. Anytime. Once things
Yeah,
open up.
yeah, we look forward to
Thank
that.
you
So,
so much for those words. Yeah, you're 100% right about what you said. And yes, I believe that this is that season in my life where I need to go all in. I feel that very strongly. And yeah, thank you so much,
yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
On full cylinders, full.
Yes,
You're going on full cylinders.
full cylinders. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, sir.
full.
Yes.
You're pressing it full.
Ooh. Awesome. God is good. Thank you so much. We'll see you. I think I'll probably be back later on tonight, but we'll see you later. Bye for now. Thanks so much.
Thank you.